Gateway to the World, B1 Student's Book by David Spencer. Unit 1, Vocabulary in Context, Exercise 1. Ages and Stages of Life.
Baby, child, middle-aged man, middle-aged woman, senior citizen, teenager, toddler, young adult.
Unit 1, Vocabulary in Context, Exercise 2. The Family.
Aunt, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, cousin, daughter, father-in-law, mother-in-law, grandchild, grandfather, grandmother, grandparent, grandson, granddaughter, great-grandfather, great-grandmother, husband, nephew, niece, son, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, stepfather, stepmother, uncle, wife.
Unit 1, Vocabulary in Context, Exercise 3B. A Legendary Family.
Chrissy Teigen is a famous model and food writer who is married to another celebrity. Her husband is the Oscar-winning singer John Legend. They have 2 children, a daughter called Luna and a son called Miles. In the photo, John has got Luna in his arms. Chrissy has got one sister, Tina. She is Luna and Miles' aunt. John's brothers, Vaughan and Ronald, are Luna and Miles' uncles. Tina is John's sister-in-law, and Vaughan and Ronald are Chrissy's brothers-in-law. They aren't in the photo. They're a very happy family.
Unit 1, Vocabulary in Context, Exercise 4. Words connected with the family.
Divorced, extended, immediate, one parent, only child, partner, relative, single, twin.
Unit 1, Reading. Right now, a toddler is shouting because he doesn't want to eat his lunch. What are the parents doing? They're filming the scene on a smartphone. Soon after, they're posting the video on social media. A teenage boy is playing a new song on his guitar. His mother is filming him. 2 days later, the boy discovers that other people are watching the video online. Parents in the UK post approximately 1,000 photos of their children online from when they are born until their 5th birthday, a phenomenon called sharenting. Babies and toddlers don't care about this at the time, but a study by the University of Michigan suggests that there is a difference with 10 to 17-year-olds. Teenagers don't always like parents posting some photos. All babies cry, but adolescents don't want people to see old photos of themselves doing this. Some parents share all sorts of photos of their children, maybe even when they are doing something silly or naughty. They do it with good intentions. For example, to share special moments with grandparents or extended family who live far away. But some middle-aged users of social media don't check their privacy settings and share posts with others by accident. In some countries, it's illegal to post photos of your own children without their permission. In Italy, a 16-year-old boy is legally forcing his mother either to stop sharing images of him on social media or pay a €10,000 fine. In France, parents pay fines of up to €45,000 and can spend a year in prison when they post photos of their children without their permission. Parents are usually very sensible about photos of their children. The report from the University of Michigan suggests this is an area where it's important for parents to listen to children over 10. Let them say what they are happy to share and who with. That way, the whole family can enjoy looking back at all those special moments. Unit 1. Listening. Exercises 2, 3 and 4. So, remember, here on Teen Talk Time this week, we asked you to call us and tell us about some of the typical arguments you have with your parents. Here are just some of the things you told us.
Hi, my name's Oliver. I don't really have many arguments with my parents. They give me quite a lot of independence, which is great. The only thing we really argue about is video games. My dad hates it when I play them. He says that they're a waste of time, even games like Minecraft. I don't think it's fair because I only play them when I finish all my homework, and they help me to relax. The funny thing is that my mum doesn't usually say anything because she likes playing them too.
Hi there, I'm Emma. My problem is my little sister. You can probably hear her now. She's playing music really loudly and singing really badly. We always have arguments about it. The thing is, I get angry with her, and then she goes and tells my mum. And my mum always protects my sister because she's only 10. I tell my mum that I can't concentrate on my homework, but my mum just tells me to be nice to my sister.
Hey, I'm Harry. I'm in a bit of an unusual situation. My dad is a teacher. Well, no. In fact, he's the headmaster at the school that I go to. That's not a big problem at school. But at home, it's really strange. When I'm not studying or doing homework, for example, if I'm playing a video game, my dad says, "Hey, why aren't you working? Haven't you got anything to do?" But then at other times, when I'm doing homework or revising at home, my dad says, "Hey, why are you spending all your time studying? You need to relax and enjoy yourself." I never win.
Charlotte here. You were asking about typical arguments with parents. I have a problem, and I don't know if it's just me. My mum's a doctor, and, well, she really wants me to study medicine at university and become a doctor like her. The thing is, that just doesn't interest me. I hate biology for a start. She doesn't realise that it's my life, and I need to decide for myself what I study and do afterwards.
Oh, hi, I'm Poppy. I think arguments with your parents are just a normal part of being a teenager. Adolescents and parents see things differently. For example, the arguments I have with my parents are nearly always about my bedroom. They tell me to make my bed in the morning, put my clothes away, keep my desk tidy. I mean, I know my bedroom is a mess, but I just don't care. I have other things to do. But when I'm middle-aged, I can imagine having arguments with my daughter about her bedroom.
Unit 1. Developing speaking. Exercises 2 and 3.
So, Dylan, have you got any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I've got a sister. She's 14. She studies at my school. What about you?
I've got one brother and one sister.
How old are they? Do they live at home?
Yes, they do. My brother is 15 and my sister is 12. They're both studying at my school.
Cool. So, what do you do at the weekend?
I play basketball on Saturdays.
Really? How often do you play?
I play in a team, so we train twice a week. I love watching basketball too. My favourite team is the Golden State Warriors. What about you? Do you like basketball?
Not really. I don't really like sport. I prefer playing video games. On Saturdays, my friends come to my house and we play together. Spider-Man is our favourite.
Oh, I hate video games.
What about school? What's your favourite school subject?
That's easy. Biology.
Really? That's my favourite too.
Unit 1. Developing speaking. Exercises 4A and 4B. 1.
Have you got any brothers or sisters?
2.
What about you?
3.
What do you do at the weekend?
4.
How often do you play?
5.
Do you like basketball?
6.
What's your favourite school subject?
Unit 2. Vocabulary in context. Exercise 2. Crimes.
Arson, burglary, cybercrime, kidnapping, mugging, murder, robbery, theft, shoplifting, smuggling, vandalism.
Unit 2. Vocabulary in context. Exercise 3B. 1.
Arsonist,
2.
burglar,
3.
cybercriminal, hacker,
4.
kidnapper,
5.
mugger,
6.
murderer,
7.
robber, thief,
8.
shoplifter,
9.
smuggler,
10.
vandal.
Unit 2. Vocabulary in context. Exercise 4. Detective work.
Accuse a suspect. Analyze evidence. Arrest a suspect. Charge a suspect. Investigate a case. Prove something. Question a witness. Search for evidence.
Unit 2. Vocabulary in context. Exercise 5B. A police detective's job. The basics.
After a crime, the first thing detectives need to do is investigate the case. Firstly, they search for evidence, i.e., anything that can help to show that somebody in particular did the crime. When they find the evidence, they need to analyse it, studying it in detail. Of course, it's not so difficult to solve a crime when somebody actually saw what happened. In that case, the police need to question the witness. When the police have specific evidence, they can prove that the suspect committed the crime. When that happens, they can accuse the suspect and say they did it. They then arrest the suspect, taking them to a police station and keeping them there because they think they committed the crime. They need to charge the suspect, making an official statement that says the suspect actually committed the crime.
Unit 2. Reading. A.
On Wednesday night, a police officer arrested a woman for stealing 3 chips. His chips. The scene of the crime was a pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C. The suspect turned up at the restaurant and sat down next to the police officer. She began talking to him and then took one of his chips. What did he do? He asked her to stop, but she took another chip. The officer explained to the woman that this was theft, but she didn't pay any attention and took a 3rd chip. The officer arrested her, took her to the police station, and charged her with the theft of French fried potato. Quantity 3. After eating the chips, there wasn't any evidence, but the witness report was probably sufficient.
B.
A human arrow helped the police to arrest 2 suspects in Surrey last Friday. 2 men broke into an old building and a witness called the police. The police immediately sent a helicopter to investigate and look for the men. A group of children and adults saw the police helicopter overhead and also 2 suspicious men running across a field. They realised the helicopter was in search of the 2 men, so they came up with an idea. They quickly got on the ground and formed an arrow to guide the helicopter to the suspects. The police caught the 2 men and charged them with suspected burglary. Surrey police are still looking into the crime, but they thanked the children and adults for their fast reactions.
C.
A 91-year-old woman destroyed a work of art in a museum in Nuremberg, Germany, last week. The work of art cost almost $90,000. So, how did this happen? The woman came across a piece of paper at the museum with an old crossword on it. She decided to try to do the crossword using a pen, but without looking up the answers in a dictionary. Later, she found out that the crossword was in fact a work of art called Reading Work Peace by the artist Arthur Kupke. Next to the work of art, the artist wrote a sign that said, "Insert words." When the police questioned the old lady, she said she simply followed the artist's instructions. They worked out that it was probably just a misunderstanding and that the interactive art in the museum possibly confused her.
Unit 2. Grammar in Context 1. Pronunciation. Exercise 2B.
Finished. Liked. Passed. Watched. Arrived. Discovered. Planned. Stayed. Needed. Painted. Started. Wanted.
Unit 2. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
Hi Tom, how are you today?
Good. And you, Ava? Did you do anything last night?
Not much. I studied for an hour or 2 and then I watched TV.
Oh. Did you watch anything interesting?
Yeah, a new series of Sherlock started last night. I mean, detective series aren't my favourite. I used to watch them when I was small, but then I stopped. But Benedict Cumberbatch is a great actor. He's a favourite of mine, especially when he plays Sherlock Holmes.
Benedict Cumberbatch? That reminds me. Did you read about what he did?
What? You mean the Avengers film?
No. He was in the newspapers because he was actually at a real crime scene.
Really? What happened?
Well, while he was travelling in a taxi, he saw a crime. There were 4 muggers. They were attacking a cyclist. He was young, about 20. Cumberbatch saw them and told the taxi driver to stop. He ran out of the taxi and tried to stop them.
And?
Well, the muggers hit the cyclist with a bottle. They were trying to steal his bike, I think. And the poor man on the bike was shouting at them to stop. That's when Cumberbatch came and started to pull the muggers away from the cyclist with his own hands. That's what the taxi driver said.
Did they actually fight?
No, I don't think so. But the taxi driver called him a superhero. He said he really knew what he was doing.
I suppose actors learn to defend themselves, don't they? When they're preparing for adventure films.
That's true. Anyway, when the muggers realised who he was, they decided to run away.
Maybe they were thinking it really was Sherlock Holmes, not Benedict Cumberbatch.
Maybe. Anyway, thanks to him, they didn't steal anything.
And the cyclist? Did he go to hospital in the end?
No, he was lucky.
Very lucky. Where did this happen? New York?
No, that's the funny thing. It was in London, really close to Baker Street.
Wait, didn't Sherlock Holmes used to live in Baker Street?
Yes, exactly. I'm sure things like that didn't used to happen in those days.
Are you sure this wasn't publicity for the new series or something? Maybe he was just acting.
I don't think so. The police confirmed there was an attack on a cyclist. But Cumberbatch didn't appear in the police report. The cyclist was quiet about it too, even though he was very grateful for the help. The only one who spoke to the newspapers about it, really, was the taxi driver.
Did the taxi driver help?
Well, Cumberbatch's wife, Sophie Hunter, was riding in the taxi too. But yes, he got out and helped. It's just a pity they didn't arrest the criminals, though.
Wow, can you imagine that? Sherlock Holmes arriving at a police station with 4 muggers.
Unit 2. Developing Speaking. Exercise 3B. Saying sorry.
People in the UK say sorry a lot. A YouGov survey found that they say it around 8 times a day. 1 in 8 British people say sorry up to 20 times a day. According to the same survey, British people say sorry more than Americans. For example, if they're 5 minutes late, 84% of British people say sorry, compared with 73% of Americans. The survey didn't include Canadians, but Canadians also have a reputation for saying sorry a lot. People in the UK often say sorry for things they're not responsible for. For example, 36% say sorry when another person hits them accidentally. Only 24% of Americans do this. In general, in the UK, saying sorry is simply a way of being polite, especially with people we don't know very well.
Unit 2. Developing Speaking. Exercises 4 and 5. 1.
Hey, where's my water? I left a bottle here on my desk just a moment ago.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Was it yours?
Yes. Did you take it?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I was really thirsty and I just saw it there.
Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's only water.
Let me get you a new bottle in the break.
Don't worry about it.
2.
Hi, Elliot. Did you bring my book?
Which book?
The book we have to read for English? The one I lent you yesterday.
Oh no, I left it at home. Sorry.
But I need it for my class now. Oh, the teacher's going to be really angry.
I'll make it up to you.
How? Elliot, that's the last time I lend you anything.
I'm really, really sorry. I feel terrible.
Unit 3. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1B. Languages.
Arabic, Bulgarian, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Thai, Turkish.
Unit 3. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2. Countries.
Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Bulgaria, Egypt, Japan, Mexico, Poland, Russia, Switzerland, Thailand, Turkey.
Unit 3. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 5A. Learning languages.
Accuracy, accurate, essay, exam, exercise, fluency, fluent, homework, memorization, memorize, mistake, practice, practice, revise, revision, study, translate, translation.
Unit 3. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 5B. Advice for learning English.
When you learn English, remember that making mistakes is natural. The important thing is to learn from the things you do wrong. It's also important to practice as much as possible. Use the language in lots of different situations. Frequent revision is essential too. Look back at new language regularly. This will help you to memorize the new vocabulary and grammar and store it in your brain. Translation can be useful sometimes, but remember that grammar and vocabulary don't usually work in exactly the same way in different languages. And finally, when we talk about speaking, there are two main goals. Accuracy is good because it means what you're saying is correct, and being fluent means that you can keep talking without frequently stopping.
Unit 3. Reading. English. The language that never sleeps.
Some countries, like Spain, Italy and France, have language academies which watch over the official development of their language. But there aren't any official organisations doing the same with English. Is that why English continues to change so quickly? New words and expressions appear in English almost every week. A lot of them are blends. They're the result of two words coming together, or blending, to make a new word. So, the words snack and accident produce the word snacksident. An example of a snacksident is when you plan to eat just one chocolate and you eat the whole box by accident. Snacksidents can happen when we become hangry. That's when we're angry because we're hungry. This can often happen to screenagers. These are young people who spend a lot of time in front of a screen. Social media is responsible for new language. When you see photos and posts of your friends doing exciting things or travelling around the world, it can cause FOMO. That's the fear of missing out, feeling anxious because you think other people are having a good time without you. People who often travel are the POTUS and FLOTUS. They're the President and First Lady of the United States. FOMO, POTUS and FLOTUS are examples of new acronyms. These words are made with the first letters of a phrase or expression and are popular on social media. With just a little imagination, people are inventing hundreds of new words every day. Are there any real problems with this? All languages change and evolve. That's because the world changes too. Maybe technology is making things change very quickly now. But there were many changes in England in the 16th century too. This innovation of language has been happening for a long time, ever since Shakespeare. So for those people who are unhappy because they think all these new words are incorrect, just have some froyo and chillax.
Unit 3. Developing Vocabulary. Exercises 2A, 2B and 2C.
Uncomfortable. Incorrect. Informal. Unhappy. Illegal. Illogical. Unofficial. Impolite. Impossible. Irregular. Irresponsible. Unusual. Invisible.
Unit 3. Listening. Exercise 3.
Welcome to another podcast in our series, A World of Languages. Today, we're talking about a language that not many people know about, yet. It's called Toki Pona, and here to tell us about it is language specialist Marta Davis. Marta, tell us a bit about Toki Pona.
Well, the first thing to say is that Toki Pona is an artificial language. That means it's a language that somebody created. It isn't a language that grew naturally over a long period of time.
So it's similar to Klingon in Star Trek.
Yes, but Toki Pona doesn't appear in any series or films.
OK, so who created it and why?
Sonia Lang is the person who created it. Sonia, who's from Toronto, is a translator of French, English and Esperanto, which is another artificial language, of course. Above all, her idea was to create a language to communicate good and positive feelings. It's all in the name. Toki means language and Pona means good or simple.
What makes Toki Pona special?
Well, the unusual thing about Toki Pona, which only began in 2001, is that it's a very small language. Small because it only uses 14 letters and has about 120 words. Sonia wanted to create a language that was simple, a language where you could express a lot but using few words.
Can you give me an example?
Yes, take colours. In Toki Pona, there are only 5 words for colours. But of course, you can make new colours by combining words. So lasso is blue in Tokipona and yellow is yellow. So lasso yellow is green.
What about numbers? Are they similar to English numbers, for example?
No, at first there were only words for 1, 2 and many. Now they also have the numbers 5 and 10. But the idea is to only have words that are completely necessary. So there are no words for please or thank you. You just smile or use body language.
So, is it an easy language to learn?
Some people say that Tokipona is a language which you can learn to speak in just 30 hours. That was another of the objectives that Sonia had when she created it. The idea was to make it easy to bring people together from all around the world.
How many people actually speak the language then?
I'm not sure about speaking, but hundreds of people are using the language online on social media. And it is quite international too. Japan, Belgium, New Zealand and Argentina are just some of the countries where people are using it.
Thanks, Marta. I must say, it's the idea of being able to learn a new language in just 2 days that I like the most.
Yes, I agree.
Unit 3. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2 and 3.
Good morning. This is the Toronto Easy English Centre. How can I help you?
Good morning. I'd like some information about your summer courses.
Yes, of course. We have a course for students aged between 14 and 17. It begins on the 2nd of July.
Sorry, did you say the 2nd of July?
Yes, that's right. The course lasts 2 weeks.
Do you organize accommodation?
Yes, we do.
How much is the course?
The price of a 2-week course is 1,400 Canadian dollars.
I'm not sure I understood what you said.
I said the price is 1,400 Canadian dollars.
How many hours of classes are there each day?
4 hours a day.
Does the price include other activities?
Yes, it does.
What other activities are there?
There are excursions and lots of sports activities, including tennis and hockey.
Where can I find more information?
On our website. There's a registration form there too.
Unit 4. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. Basic parts of the body.
Arm, ear, face, finger, foot, hand, head, leg, mouth, neck, nose, stomach, toe.
Unit 4. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2. More parts of the body.
Ankle, back, calf, cheek, chest, chin, elbow, forehead, heel, hip, jaw, knee, shoulder, thigh, throat, thumb, wrist.
Unit 4. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 3. 1,
Heel,
2,
ankle,
3,
calf,
4,
knee,
5,
thigh,
6,
elbow,
7,
thumb,
8,
chest,
9,
chin,
10,
cheek,
11,
forehead,
12,
jaw,
13,
throat,
14,
shoulder,
15,
back,
16,
wrist,
17.
hip,
Unit 4. Reading. Youth health. Is new technology bad for your health? Let's take a look at a few examples. A.
You've played the same video game for 2 hours and you haven't moved because you're having fun. But take care. When you look down at a screen for a long time, you can get a sore neck, pains in your back, and headaches. A doctor called Vahid Sahihonasab noticed this with his own children. So, he invented the iForza smart glasses. These have sensors which detect if you're sitting in the right position. If you aren't, the app tells you to sit up straight. If you don't pay attention to the app, or you take the glasses off, they can switch off the video game you're playing. The doctor hopes this can stop young people injuring their necks and backs permanently.
B.
How many times have you touched your phone today? Researchers from the company D-Scout say people touch their phone about 2,617 times a day. When our hands aren't clean, we get a lot of bacteria on our phones, particularly around the home button. Not all the bacteria can cause illnesses, but there is a small possibility that viruses like the ones that cause colds and flu can be present on phones. To limit this possibility, there are 3 easy things you can do. Firstly, wash your hands frequently. Secondly, try not to use other people's phones if you can help it. And finally, keep your own phone clean. Check first how to do this. Oh, and never take your phone to the bathroom, of course.
C.
Have you ever walked in the street while looking down at your smartphone? If so, you're a smartphone zombie, and you need to be very careful. You may laugh when you see somebody walk into a wall or a lamppost while looking at their phone. But the result isn't always just a black eye that you can treat with a first aid kit. There can be broken arms or legs, or even fatal injuries. Luckily, they have invented apps which can lock your phone or send you an error message when you use your phone on the move. In some cities, special traffic lights are appearing on the pavement so that people who look down at their phones can't miss them.
Unit 4. Grammar in Context 1. Exercise 3C. Has anybody ever really done that? 1. False.
In 1972, 23-year-old Vesna Vulovic fell 10,160 metres from a plane without a parachute and survived.
2. Yes.
In 2016, Aleš Segura Vendrell stopped breathing for 24 minutes 3.45 seconds. Aleš is a professional diver from just outside Barcelona.
3. False.
Herbert Nitsch is from Austria. He has dived more than 200 metres underwater without oxygen twice. Once, he dived 253.2 metres.
4. No.
Nobody has ever run a marathon in under 2 hours. In 2019, the world record was 2 hours, 1 minute, 39 seconds.
5. False.
In 2007, Martin Strel from Slovenia became the first person to swim the whole of the Amazon River. That's about 6,400 kilometres.
6. Yes.
The American Evel Knievel broke at least 433 bones in his lifetime. He was famous for doing very dangerous motorbike jumps.
Unit 4. Grammar in Context 1. Exercise 6C. 1.
People have used the main active ingredient in aspirin since at least 400 BC.
2.
The International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement has existed since 1863.
3.
Doctors have known how to do heart transplants for about 50 years.
4.
People have studied things with microscopes since about 1600.
5.
It has been possible to X-ray the body for approximately 120 years.
Unit 4. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
Now, Mike, you're a base jumper. Can you just remind us what the word base means when we talk about base jumping?
Yes, base actually comes from the letters B, A, S, E. B is for building, A is for antenna, S is for span, that is the main part of a bridge, and E is for earth, mountains, for example. We jump from those different places. It's important to ask for permission, of course. My friends and I never do illegal jumps.
I've just seen some of the videos you've made. They look incredibly dangerous to make. How dangerous is base jumping?
Very. I mean, jumping from a high place with a parachute is always a risk. And obviously you can never do a jump without planning, training, and the right professional equipment.
Have you ever hurt yourself?
Yes, I've already sprained my right ankle and had a few cuts and bruises.
So is it the danger that attracts you?
I'm actually very careful in my day-to-day life, and when I jump, it's more about controlling and beating your fears. But you can have really bad accidents, like the Norwegian base jumper, Karina Holkim.
Karina Holkim? I think I've heard that name. Has she ever been in the news?
Yes, she has.
Why? What did she do?
It was in 2006. She was in Switzerland. In theory, it was an easy dive, a skydive, not a base jump. But her parachute didn't open correctly. She actually hit the ground at over 100 kilometers per hour.
But how did she survive?
She couldn't control her position because of her speed. But when she touched the ground, she wasn't in a terrible position. It sounds strange, but she was really lucky.
How bad were her injuries?
Well, she broke both her knees and injured her legs in lots of different places. The doctors told her it was impossible for her to walk again. But after spending some time in a wheelchair, she did it. But it took her 2 years and about 20 operations.
That's amazing. Has she started base jumping again yet?
No, she hasn't done that yet, but she's already begun skiing again, which is something she's always loved.
Wow. Well, she's certainly a great example of fighting against adversity.
Yes. She's made a film about her experiences and also written a book, and now she gives talks to motivate others.
That's great. Now, what about you, Mike? What's your next goal?
Well, if everything goes well.
Unit 4. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2A, 2B and 3.
Well, in this photo, I can see 4 people, 4 football players. You can only see the legs of one of the players. You can't see his face, and you can't see the ball or anything. The players are all wearing blue shirts, black shorts, and white socks. And football boots, of course. They aren't playing at the moment. I think they've just stopped because in the middle of the photo there's a player on the floor, on the ground. The player is touching his knee. He's holding it. I think he's just injured himself. Or maybe somebody has just kicked him or something. His knee is obviously very sore and he's in pain. I'm not sure, but maybe he's broken his leg because the other 3 players are concerned. They look very serious. I think they're probably his friends, and I imagine they're very worried about him. Personally, I enjoy playing football, but I don't play in a team. So I've never hurt myself like this player. I mean, once I had some scratches and bruises when I played with my friends in the park last year. But I've never had a bad injury like this, or broken my leg, or anything like that. I like watching football, but I don't like the photo much because they aren't playing. In fact, one of the problems is that in real football matches, the players spend a lot of time on the floor, like here. The thing is that sometimes you don't know if they're really in pain or not. Maybe in this photo the players are just acting and he hasn't really hurt himself. I'm not sure now.
Unit 5. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. TV programs and series.
Cartoon. Chat show. Comedy. Crime series. Documentary. Drama. Fantasy series. Film. Food program. Game show. Reality show. Science fiction series. Sports program. Talent show. The news.
Unit 5. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2A. Words connected with TV and online video.
Binge watching. Channel. Contestant. Episode. Mobile device. Screen. Season. Spoiler. Streaming service. Viewer.
Unit 5. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2B. True or false? 1.
Hulu was the first TV streaming service. It began before Netflix.
2.
It's possible to watch video content made exclusively for mobile devices such as smartphones.
3.
A television produced in 1982 had a screen that was just 5 centimetres.
4.
In 2016, Alejandro Fragoso watched TV continuously for 94 hours and so broke the world record for binge watching.
5.
BBC Two was the first TV channel in the UK to transmit programmes in colour.
6.
The US sitcom The Big Bang Theory stopped after 12 seasons.
7.
There haven't been over 1,000 episodes of The Simpsons.
8.
In 1969, about 600 million TV viewers around the world watched a live programme showing the first astronauts to walk on the moon.
9.
The first ever contestant to win the talent show America's Got Talent was only 11 years old.
10.
They filmed different endings for the very final episode of Game of Thrones to stop the possibility of spoilers.
Unit 5. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 3. Adjectives describing TV programmes.
Annoying, awful, brilliant, dull, entertaining, funny, informative, inspiring, moving, original, scary, violent.
Unit 5. Reading.
Reality TV? No, I prefer more serious programmes. That's what a lot of people say. But a survey by OnePoll showed that 1 in 4 people in the UK watch a reality show. Perhaps that's not surprising when you think that there are hundreds of different shows to choose from. Some popular examples have people singing, dancing, or cooking. But recently, there have been more unusual programmes. A competition between men trying to grow the longest beard, Whisker Wars, celebrities competing in challenges in the Australian jungle, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or a group of 40 kids who live together for 40 days without adults, Kid Nation. But just how real are the people in reality TV shows? It depends. Some shows actually use professional actors. Others use ordinary members of the public. They're much cheaper than actors. But even when the people are real, the situations are often carefully written and planned. And even when real people are talking about true situations, it's easy to edit their words and make them say something different. In spite of this, the above survey discovered that 42% of people in the UK between the ages of 25 and 34 believe that reality shows are 100% real. What about talent shows? One of the most popular types of reality show. Did you know that it is often the producers of the show, not the judges, who decide who leaves the competition? Talent is often a lot less important than other factors. The producers need contestants who attract more viewers, for example, by starting arguments. In fact, some producers create drama and tension between the competitors on purpose. Does it matter that reality shows aren't real? In some documentaries, they say they are in one place when in fact they are filming in a different location. In other shows, they surprise the contestants with things that they knew about already. And in most shows, they give a false idea of time. An activity which really takes hours, days, or weeks happens in just 50 minutes. One of the saddest things is that reality shows can give us unrealistic ideas about what we can do. Things aren't as fast as they look on the screen, and they're usually slightly more complicated. Reality shows can make us confused because we can't tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. The scariest thing is that they can make us stop believing everything we see on TV, including the news. People think it's all manipulation. Perhaps the best thing is to stop watching reality TV for a while and rediscover the real world. It's just as amazing and inspiring as anything that you can see on a screen.
Unit 5. Grammar in Context 1. Exercise 6B. 1. True.
Jennifer Lawrence was born in 1990 and Amelia Clark was born in 1986.
2. True.
In the US, watching American football is much more popular than watching football.
3. False.
Superman was created in 1938 and Spider-Man was created in 1962.
4. True.
Going to the cinema is far more expensive than renting films online.
5. True.
Avengers Endgame cost $356 million to make and Captain Marvel cost $152 million.
Unit 5. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
Today we're talking about binge watching. You know, when you start watching one episode of your favourite TV series, then you're having such a good time that you just can't stop. We want to know, why is binge watching so common nowadays? Can it become a serious problem, like an addiction? Or is it all just good, relaxing fun? Here's what different listeners told us.
Hi, my name's Holly. I never binge watch. In fact, I think binge watching is such a problem. I saw some statistics this week that are really frightening. Did you know that 55% of young people say that binge watching is their favourite hobby? 26% say they eat lots of unhealthy food while they binge watch, and 28% say they sleep less because of binge watching. The thing is, I'm a teacher. Sometimes my students are so tired in the morning, and often it's because they watch TV until late at night. They sleep 6 hours or less, and that isn't long enough to rest. Parents need to be careful with the number of hours kids watch TV.
Hi, I'm Noah. I don't think it's a good idea to watch so much TV, obviously, but I do binge watch sometimes. What happens to me is that a friend tells me about a great series that I've never heard about. Then I watch one episode and I discover that I like it. I watch the next episode and I find that it's so good that I feel I need to watch every single episode of every different season that I missed. And sometimes I binge watch because I don't want to have problems with spoilers. It's so annoying when somebody tells you about an important moment in a series before you actually see it.
My name's Jenna. I'm old enough to remember when we just had 3 or 4 channels and no streaming services. You needed to wait a week between each episode of your favourite series, and you could only watch episodes live. Now, with a lot of series, you can watch the complete season on the same day. So I think there's more binge watching because of streaming services. I also reckon that series are much better now. The episodes have such surprising endings that you're too excited to switch off and go to bed. So you watch the next episode and the next. That's what I do, at least.
I'm Lee, and I'm in my last year at school. I'm calling because one day I realised I was spending too much time watching TV. Some mornings, I didn't have enough energy to study much. It was awful. So now I've stopped. I give myself a time limit before I start watching. I say I'm going to watch until 9, for example, and then I switch off at exactly 9 o'clock. Or I decide how many episodes I can watch that evening. And then I switch off after that number of episodes. Not one more. You need to decide before you start. After all, there are better and more important things to do than just sit and watch TV for hours, aren't there?
Unit 5. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2, 3A and 4.
I'm going to describe a situation to you. A young girl studies very hard and needs to find an activity to help her relax. Here are some activities that could help her to relax. Talk together about the different activities she could do and say which would be the most relaxing. All right? Now, talk together.
OK, what do you think about reading?
Reading is a great activity, but I think it's a bit tiring for somebody who studies all day. What about you?
Yes, I agree. In my opinion, watching TV is much more relaxing than reading because you don't have to think much.
Yes, you're right. There are lots of comedies that make you feel happy. What about running?
Well, it's tiring for your body, but doing sport can really help you to rest your mind.
Yes, but it can be a bit boring when you run on your own. I reckon playing video games with friends is better because it's really gripping, but you can talk to your friends at the same time.
Maybe, but playing video games can be bad for your eyes, especially when you spend a lot of time studying in front of a computer screen.
That's true. What about cooking with friends?
It's interesting because you're doing something together and you're making something.
Yes, and you can eat what you make when you finish. But it isn't very easy to cook well.
What about the last one? Playing a musical instrument?
Well, it's brilliant if you know how to do it. But learning a new instrument is probably quite difficult, especially when you don't have much free time.
Yes, I agree. So let's decide which one is the best. Personally, I think that watching TV, running, or cooking with friends are the 3 best activities for a busy student. What about you?
Yes, I reckon they're all good activities. But I think the most relaxing for this girl is watching TV, because she needs an activity that's really easy to do.
OK, why don't we choose TV then?
OK.
Unit 6. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. Geographical features.
Beach. Cave. Cliff. Coast. Desert. Forest. Glacier. Hill. Island. Jungle. Rainforest. Lake. Mountain. Mountain range. Ocean. Sea. River. Stream. Valley. Waterfall.
Unit 6. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 3A. Verbs connected with the environment.
Consume. Recycle. Reduce. Reuse. Save. Throw away. Waste.
Unit 6. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 3B. Some simple tips for protecting the environment.
Because of global warming, the temperature of the planet is rising at the moment. To help with this problem, we need to reduce greenhouse gases. The UK government promised to do this by 80% by 2050. To reach this goal, we need to use less energy. You can save energy by doing simple things like switching off the lights when you leave the room. And don't forget that we waste energy when we leave computers or TVs on all night. When we recycle plastic, glass or paper to make new products, we are also helping to protect the environment. But it's also good to reuse things instead of using them just once. In general, it's sensible to consume less. We buy lots of things that we don't really need and then quickly throw away all these useless items.
Unit 6. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4. The environment.
Carbon emissions. Climate change. Drought. Flood. Fossil fuels. Global warming. Melting ice caps. Air pollution. Sea pollution. Non-renewable energy. Renewable energy. Sea level rise. Toxic waste.
Unit 6. Reading. Understanding climate change. Sea level rise. You ask, the experts answer.
According to the US-based National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the global sea level in 2016 was 82 millimetres higher than the 1983 annual average. The NOAA believes that the global sea level will probably rise between 0.2 metres and 2 metres by 2100. Their statistics also show that in many places along the US coast, flooding is much more frequent than it was 50 years ago. Sea levels are rising for two main reasons. Firstly, glaciers and ice caps are melting and adding water to the ocean, and this is going to happen faster as global temperatures get higher. Over the last 10 years, NOAA statistics show that the amount of sea level rise caused by melting has increased dramatically and is now the main factor in rising sea levels. Secondly, the water in the oceans is getting warmer, and that means that it expands and takes up more space, increasing the volume of water in the sea. One big problem is that at least 275 million people live in areas which are going to be at risk from rising sea levels. 8 out of the world's 10 largest cities are near a coast, according to the UN Atlas of the Oceans. In Europe, London, Barcelona, Dublin and Venice are some of the cities that may face problems. Experts predict that millions of people will need to move away from their homes in the future. The 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement to combat climate change and reduce carbon emissions will be in 2025. There are experts who are optimistic that lower carbon emissions will help to reduce the speed of rising sea levels. However, it is clear that we will need to spend money on other ways to protect these coastal areas because rising sea levels will still continue to cause problems. In the Netherlands, where flooding has always been a problem, engineers and architects are always coming up with different solutions, big and small. One is the building of floating homes. When the water rises, your home will rise too. Other countries have decided they're going to think about building similar homes. Perhaps the biggest solution is the giant sea gate in Rotterdam that protects the port. A computer controls this gate and it closes automatically when there is danger of flooding. Each of the two parts of the gate is as big as the Eiffel Tower. But will engineers build similar gates to protect other cities?
Unit 6. Listening. Exercises 2, 3 and 4.
Here on Greenworld, we're really excited to have Carol Hasper with us, who's going to tell us all about a great idea called plogging. Carol, hi. What exactly is plogging?
Hi, James. It's a very simple idea which combines running and picking up the rubbish you find on your way. Then you throw it away carefully or recycle it, of course.
Where does the strange word come from?
It's a blend of the words plocka upp, which is Swedish for pick up, and jogging. If you combine these words, you get plogging.
Is the idea originally from Sweden?
Yes, it seems it was the idea of a Swedish man called Erik Alstrom. He started a community of ploggers in Stockholm. But actually, before that, and completely separately, there used to be a thing in the US called trash running, which was similar.
What do you need to be able to do it?
Your usual running equipment, and then most people wear gloves and carry a bag, of course.
Why did you start?
I've always loved running. I began because I wanted to get fit, but when I was running, I started seeing so much litter and I got angry about it.
Not surprising. Did you know 81% of people in Britain are angry about litter in streets? And each year it costs £1 billion to clear up litter in the UK.
Right. So one day I heard about plogging on social media and thought, what a great idea.
How much rubbish do you usually collect in one run?
I normally fill one big bag on a 5-kilometre run.
Doesn't that get heavy?
I don't pick up very heavy items, but yes, it does. That's the thing, though. With plogging, not like jogging, you bend down, stretch, get up again, and then carry the rubbish. And we all know that you use up more calories if you move more. That's another reason why I do it, to get a better workout.
Some people might say that just picking up a bag or two of rubbish doesn't really make a big difference to the environment, or they may think people will drop more litter in the street if they know that people like you will pick it up. What do you think?
Look, if I don't pick up this rubbish, maybe a bird or some other animal will eat it. It may get ill or die. So perhaps it is a small step, but it can make a real difference. And it will make a massive difference if lots of people do it. The plogging community is growing fast all around the world. I think that's because when you finish running, you feel good because you feel healthier. But ploggers feel even better because they know they're also doing something good for their neighbourhood and for the planet.
Maybe plogging isn't the most beautiful word in the world, but the idea certainly is. Get your running shoes and your gloves on and get out there. Thanks, Carol.
Unit 6. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2, 3 and 5A.
Are you up to anything this weekend?
Not really. What about you?
If the weather's good, Alex and I are going to go to the beach. Do you fancy coming?
Sure. What time shall we meet?
How about 11 o'clock?
Okay. Why don't we meet at the station?
Fine. I know. I'll bring some sandwiches and we can have lunch on the beach.
What will we do if it rains?
I'll give you a ring and we'll go somewhere else.
Okay. Listen, I'll ring Liz too and see if she wants to come.
Good idea. See you tomorrow at 11.
See you.
Unit 7. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2. Jobs.
Architect. Au pair. Chef. Company director. Construction worker. Economist. Fashion designer. Firefighter. Journalist. Lawyer. Mechanic. Nurse. Photographer. Plumber. Police officer. Receptionist. Shop assistant. Vet.
Unit 7. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4A. Personal qualities.
Ambitious. Calm. Caring. Clever. Bright. Confident. Creative. Determined. Fit. Flexible. hard-working, patient, reliable, responsible, sensitive, sociable, friendly, strong, well-organised.
Unit 7. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4B. Essential qualities in the world of work.
There are jobs where you need to have a specific skill or personal quality. But there are many personal qualities that are useful in almost any job. For example, it's always important to be well organised, i.e., to plan things carefully and know exactly what you're doing. It's also important to be flexible so that you adapt to changing situations. Being creative isn't just a quality that artists and writers need. It's essential in any job where you need imagination to think of new ideas or solutions to problems. Working in teams is always important, so it's good if you are sociable and friendly and like working with other people. It's vital that you are reliable and responsible too, so that people know they can depend on you. It also helps if you're calm and patient so that you don't panic or get angry when things start to go wrong. And finally, it's okay to be ambitious and to want to be a big success in your job.
Unit 7. Reading. A. Alain Géant, chef.
A Michelin star is every chef's dream. To win one, a restaurant must prepare food to a consistently high standard. It's extremely hard work, but in comparison with Alain Géant, most other Michelin star winners have it easy. Alain's story is a great example of overcoming adversity. Because of war, Alain's family moved from Liberia to Lebanon and then to the US, Italy and the Czech Republic. He ended up in Paris, even though he couldn't speak any French. At one point, he had nowhere to live and was almost penniless, sleeping in a park. He found work as a construction worker during the day and worked part-time delivering pizzas and washing dishes in a restaurant at night. One night, the chef in the restaurant where Alain worked cut his hand and went to hospital. So Alain cooked for the customers and everyone loved his dishes. Now he has 4 restaurants in Paris and his own Michelin star. Not bad for somebody who started by watching food programs on TV and taught himself to cook. Alain's story shows that you don't have to come from a privileged background to be successful. You just have to believe in yourself and follow your passion because, as Alain knows, it can take you to the very top of your profession.
B. Amy Vitale, photographer.
American photographer Amy Vitale has got to the top of her profession and won important awards. But a photographer's life isn't always easy. Amy feels a photographer should live the story. So she's lived in war zones, seen violence and conflict, and even contracted malaria. But through her job, she has shown us the power of the human spirit. Amy began working at a small US newspaper and then travelled abroad. Although Amy doesn't see herself as a nature photographer, she is interested in how humans are connected to nature. When she was in Kenya, she did a photographic report about the work of Sasha Dorothy Lewukaduk. Sasha helped to rescue over 30 elephants and showed that women in Kenya can do the same jobs as men. Amy has helped to create an organisation that allows women around the world like Sasha to tell their stories. Meanwhile, Amy believes that you don't have to travel abroad to find interesting stories. The secret is that you must tell the story better than anyone else and make it yours.
Unit 7. Grammar in Context 1. Pronunciation. Exercise 2B. 1,
Should.
2,
Firefighter.
3,
Scientist.
4,
Mustn't.
5,
Discipline.
6,
Designer.
7,
Plumber.
8,
Calm.
9,
Sight.
10,
Listen.
11,
Hours.
12,
Talk.
13,
Know.
14,
Seen.
15,
Column.
16,
Wrist.
17,
Thumb.
18.
Wrap.
Unit 7. Developing Vocabulary. Exercises 2A and 2B.
Badly paid. Badly behaved. Blue-eyed. Brown-eyed. Green-eyed. Easygoing. Full-time. Part-time. Good-looking. Long-haired. Short-haired. Right-handed. Left-handed. Well-paid. Well-behaved. Well-known.
Unit 7. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
Wow. Harry, have you seen this? I didn't know this job really existed.
Which job?
Being a professional ice cream taster. Can you imagine?
Yes, Layla, I can. I can imagine that if I ate ice cream every day, I'd put on weight really fast. Actually, I wonder how much ice cream you have to eat.
Wait, it says here. Louise Bamber. She's in charge of tasting ice cream for a big UK supermarket. She says that sometimes she tastes up to 250 ice creams a day.
Really? Well, I like having an ice cream or two in the summer, but if I did that job, I'd get tired of it. Unless you really loved ice cream. You wouldn't want to eat it all through the winter.
But wait, you don't actually eat all that ice cream. You just taste it. It's not the same. Nobody could eat all that sugar. And you do other things too. For example, Louise travels a lot. She's always looking for new flavours and ideas, and that's the part that sounds the most interesting to me. If I had that job, I'd really enjoy inventing new flavours. Tomato ketchup or blue cheese?
Yuck. Seriously though, I reckon if you did that job, you'd need to visit the dentist regularly.
True. But what about you? What would your dream job be?
I've just finished a great book called Raven Master. The man who looks after the ravens at the Tower of London wrote it. His name is Christopher Scaife. That's probably my dream job.
Wait, isn't there a legend about the ravens? If the 6 ravens at the Tower of London fly away, the kingdom and the Tower of London will fall.
Yeah, that's why it's so special. You're responsible for the future of the country.
So what qualifications do you need for a job like that?
You must have at least 22 years of military experience. I suppose you have to like birds too. What I'd love about the job is that you live inside the Tower of London.
I would be really frightened if I lived inside the Tower of London. Didn't prisoners die there?
A long time ago.
Actually, I find ravens quite scary too.
Christopher says the birds are usually friendly with visitors, but it isn't a good idea to get too close to them. He has lots of marks on his arms where the ravens have attacked him. He also says visitors should be careful because the ravens sometimes steal things, especially crisps and biscuits.
Is he responsible for feeding the ravens?
Yes, he has to give them chicken and mice and rats.
Oh,
Yes, but at least he doesn't have to catch them.
if I were you, I'd choose a different dream job. For example, one where there's ice cream, not mice or rats.
Unit 7. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2, 3 and 4.
What do you like doing in your free time?
I love playing basketball, and I've always played in the school team. We're in the Dynamic National Schools League. This year, the school asked me to help train our youngest girls' team. The girls are 10 and 11.
What skills have you learnt from that? And what qualities do you think you have that help you?
Well, I think I've learned to motivate others. For example, we only had 7 girls in the team when I started training them. Now we have a full team of 12. That's because they enjoy playing and training more this year, so they ask their friends to join the team. Another thing to say is that I think it's important that I'm friendly and caring. For instance, the team can see that I have a good relationship with them, and that means they try harder for me. Also, to train a team, you have to be good at organising people, and I think I'm good at that. Let me give you an example. Last year, the team didn't know exactly when they were going to train. I've made a timetable, you see, so they know exactly what day and time we have training sessions and matches. That really helps.
Unit 8. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. Feelings.
Afraid. Anger. Angry. Bored. Boredom. Confused. Confusion. Delight. Delighted. Disappointed. Disappointment. Embarrassed. Embarrassment. Excited. Excitement. Fear. Happiness. Happy. Loneliness. Lonely. Pride. Proud. Relief. Relieved. Sad. Sadness. Upset.
Unit 8. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4A. Friendships.
Circle of friends. Classmate. Close. Fall out. Get on well. Hang out. Have arguments. Have in common. Make up. See eye to eye. Through thick and thin. Ups and downs.
Unit 8. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4B. Best friends forever.
I have a great circle of friends. There are about 8 of us. I'm very good friends with a few of my classmates. I often hang out with them at my house after school, or at the park or shopping centre. Apart from my classmates, I have one really close friend called Leo, who I spend a lot of time with. Leo's also a friend of my cousin. In fact, I met him at my cousin's house. The first time I chatted to Leo, we found that we have similar opinions and see eye to eye on lots of things. There are many things we have in common. For example, we like the same sports, school subjects, and TV series. Maybe that's no surprise, because I have a good relationship with my cousin too. I've always got on well with him. Leo and I have our good moments and bad moments, our ups and downs, but we rarely get angry with each other or have arguments. We've never seriously fallen out, stopped being friends. But if we had a serious argument one day, I know we would make up very quickly and become friends again. That's what true friendship is about. Staying together through thick and thin in even the most difficult situations.
Unit 8. Reading. My best friend is a robot. Until recently, it used to be common to think of robots as just workers, machines designed to build cars or do the housework. In fact, the word robot comes from the Czech word robota, which means forced labour. But a few years ago, a robot revolution began. Companies began to design robots as toys for children. These have become so popular that now some parents and experts are worried about the effects of friendships between robots and children. In 1940, Isaac Asimov wrote a story called Robbie, in which a robot was a child's best friend. In the story, the child's mother had been worried about their friendship until the robot saved the child's life at the end of the story. In real life, there are also divided opinions about humans hanging out with robots. One of the reasons why experts are worried is because young people might believe that robots are people, not machines. It may seem strange that we can feel an emotional connection with a machine, but just think of all the friendly robots that already exist in fiction, from Wall-E to R2-D2. Could close relationships with a robot confuse children? Some people think it's possible. In the past, children would play with inanimate toys or objects, but today's robot toys are designed to express feelings and emotions in a human way, and some are capable of real interaction with children. When a child says he doesn't want to play, the robot can show sadness or disappointment. Some robots are designed to get upset if they lose in games or if you shake them. There are robot toys that can modify their behaviour as they learn about their owner and their surroundings. That's the case of Paro, a Japanese robot in the form of a seal. Paro is helping people suffering from dementia to feel less lonely. The robot responds to the person's voice and touch by moving and making sounds. Unlike a human being, it never has arguments with you. It's the perfect companion, bringing enjoyment to people. However, there's a real danger that humans sometimes forget that robots are not living beings. In an experiment, researchers from different universities in Germany asked 89 people to interact with a robot. When they had finished the interaction, the robot begged half of the people not to switch it off. These people hesitated before they did so, and 13 people actually refused to switch it off. Robots may make good companions for certain people, but let's not forget they aren't living beings and they don't have feelings. At least, not yet. Unit 8. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
In this week's Student Life podcast, we're looking at friendships. There are certain myths about friendships, things that people always say about them, but that aren't perhaps true. We went out onto the street and asked what you thought. Are they myths, or is there some truth in them? Myth number 1. To be really good friends, you have to have the same interests and like doing the same things. Sally Smith.
Well, up to a point, yes, I agree. Imagine that you and your friend have nothing in common and you enjoy doing completely different things in your free time. You'll never want to spend time together. That doesn't mean you have to have exactly the same tastes or spend all your time together. In the end, that might even be bad. One of my closest friends usually goes shopping on Saturday morning. You know, looking for clothes in Uniqlo. But I often go running because I want to get some exercise. But when we meet up afterwards, we have lots to talk about. Anyway, the strongest friendships always have a bit of give and take. Some Saturdays we both go shopping and others we both go running.
Myth number 2. Having a few close friends is more important than having a large circle of friends. Mark Price.
I've never really thought about that, to be honest. I mean, I'm not interested in counting my friends. What is a friend anyway? How close do you have to be? I'm in a football team. Actually, I'm at the Chelsea Football Academy, and I get on with everybody, but I'm not sure I'd call them all my friends. And I spent time chatting with classmates, but I don't hang out with them all after class. But I do agree that it's really important to have 1 or 2 close friends, people you can talk to about problems and depend on. Thinking about it, the number of friends you have isn't important. The only important thing is feeling comfortable and happy with the person or people that you spend your free time with.
Myth number 3. Social media is bad for friendships and causes loneliness. Maya Shaw.
There's definitely a problem with social media. I have a lot of friends who've fallen out because of misunderstandings on social media or because they said inappropriate things about a friend in a post. I think if you say anything on social media, you should also be prepared to say it to a person's face. Some people get lonely too, because they see other people having fun together, but they aren't invited or part of it. I think it's a bad idea to spend too much time looking at all that stuff. It's better to spend more time face-to-face with people. I mainly use social media to stay in touch with friends who I can't see very often. Without social media, it would be difficult to keep those relationships alive. So it isn't all bad.
Unit 8. Developing Speaking. Exercise 2.
Hi Emma, how's things? Did you have a good weekend?
Hey Jaden. Yes, my weekend was brilliant.
Where did you go?
I went to a pop music festival, the Fusion Festival. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. What was it like?
Amazing.
Who did you go with?
With my mum and dad, and Lily and Ryan came with us too.
How many people were there? Was it big?
Yeah, it was massive. That was the only bad part, getting in, because there were so many people. It was a relief when we were finally there. In fact, my dad was lucky to get tickets. He'd heard about the festival ages ago, so he bought them back in December.
Who played at the festival? Anybody famous?
Yeah, Shawn Mendes. He was brilliant.
Oh, I used to listen to him all the time, but I haven't heard any of his new songs for a while. Did you meet anybody there?
Yes. When we were getting something to eat, we saw Jack and Claire. It was really funny because Claire and I were wearing exactly the same t-shirt.
Ha! What was the food like?
Oh, you know, it was the typical stuff. Burgers, salads, pizza. It was good, but a bit expensive.
What time did it end?
I think it was about 10 p.m, but we don't live too far away from there, so it wasn't too bad. Anyway, the music was so good that I'm really glad I went. Next year, you should come with us.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Unit 9. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. Things we read.
Blog. Comic. Graphic novel. Cookbook. Encyclopedia. Guidebook. Magazine. Manual. Newspaper. Novel. Play. Poetry. Short story. Textbook.
Unit 9. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 2. Genres.
Autobiography. Biography. Crime. Detective. Spy fiction. Fairy tale. Fantasy. Historical fiction. Horror. Mystery. Romance. Science fiction. Thriller. YA. Young adult.
Unit 9. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4A. Book reviews.
Adaptation. Award. To be set in. To take place in. Bestseller. Ending. Main character. Masterpiece. Plot. Style. Theme. Twist.
Unit 9. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 4B. A modern classic.
You may know Mortal Engines already, as it has been a bestseller since it appeared in 2001, with hundreds of thousands of copies sold. It has won awards too, such as the Blue Peter Book of the Year. There is also a 2018 film adaptation by the famous Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson. But in case you don't know, Mortal Engines is a brilliant adventure story which is set in the future, a future where cities move from one place to another on giant wheels. The main characters are Tom Natsworthy and Hester Shaw. The plot of the story is very original and totally gripping. There are lots of sudden twists as situations change unexpectedly. And when the book finishes, it is not the typical happy ending that you often get in YA books. The style of the book is very dynamic and easy to follow, and it examines interesting themes such as the need to protect the environment and the horrors of war. I believe Mortal Engines is a YA masterpiece, one of the best books of its kind. Don't miss it!
Unit 9. Reading. Books on the move.
Holly Fraser used to cycle to work in 10 minutes. But when she started a job in London, it took her an hour on the Underground to get to her place of work. This gave her plenty of time to read during the journey. She looked around and saw lots of people reading on the train and realised how amazing and important reading a good book is. One day, on her way to work, she finished a great YA novel. She'd enjoyed it so much that she decided to leave the book on the train for somebody else to read. She wanted to share the pleasure she'd had reading it. But she didn't want to stop with just one book. There and then, the idea for Books on the Underground was born. The idea was simple. Find a book on the tube, read it, and then leave it for somebody else. Holly left London, but the project is still going strong and has already put around 15,000 books on the Underground. Cordelia Oxley runs Books on the Underground now. On average, she and her helpers place about 400 books a week. They encourage individuals to share books and offer free stickers to show that the books are part of the scheme. All they ask is that you share a photo of the book on social media when you leave it. It isn't only individuals who share their books. Publishers, film promoters and authors also bring a wide variety of new and used books. Some companies use the project to get publicity for new novels or films by leaving lots of copies of a new book in different stations, on seats, benches, platforms or ticket areas. They take photos or make videos of people's reactions finding the books. Then they post them on social media. Holly moved from London to New York. There she helped with Books on the Subway. In fact, there are now around 20 different schemes working across 14 countries, including Spain, Mexico, Argentina and Poland. They have local names such as Books on the Bus or Books on the Rail. The global name for the project is Books on the Move. To start a local project, they remind people that first they need permission from their local transport system. Emma Watson, who is a UN ambassador, has shared books on both the Underground and the subway. Reading is important to her. In an interview with Paper magazine in 2016, she said that her own personal task was to read one book a week. She also told the interviewer that she was reading so much and exposing herself to so many new ideas that it almost felt like the chemistry and the structure of her brain was changing. So, the next time you finish your book on public transport, think about sharing the pleasure.
Unit 9. Developing Vocabulary. Exercise 1. Phrasal verbs connected with reading.
Flick through. Read on. Read out. Scroll down. Scroll up. Turn over.
Unit 9. Developing Vocabulary. Exercise 3. Phrasal verbs connected with writing.
Cross out. Fill in. Look over. Make up. Write down.
Unit 9. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
On today's literature podcast, we're looking at literary pseudonyms. University Professor Paula Jones is with us to tell us about some famous cases. Paula, why do writers choose to write under a different name?
There can be lots of different reasons. One simple reason is the author wants to remain anonymous. They don't want any public attention. One famous example is the Italian writer Elena Ferranti, the author of international bestsellers such as My Brilliant Friend or The Story of the Lost Child.
So, who is Elena Ferranti?
That's it. Nobody knows. Yet. There are different theories. One theory is that it's actually a man, not a woman, but nobody knows for sure. Ferranti once said that when a book is finished, it has no need for an author. She said it was important for her to stay anonymous.
What other reasons are there for using a pen name?
Sometimes it's because writers don't want people to know if they're men or women. Look at J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter books. J.K. Rowling isn't really a pseudonym, but it was important to her that the name could be a man's or a woman's name. At first, nobody knew the identity of Rowling, but she appeared on TV a few months after her first book became famous, so soon everybody knew Rowling was a woman.
What is J.K. Rowling's full name?
Joanne Rowling.
And the K?
It's K for Kathleen, but that's not her name. It was her grandmother's name. The publishers wanted 2 letters to sound more interesting. J.K. Rowling has also written other books under a pen name, Robert Galbraith.
Are they fantasy novels?
No, they're crime, not like Harry Potter. That's a third reason why writers sometimes use pen names. They use a different name when they write a different type of fiction. If you usually write romance and then you write a YA novel, you might use a different name. In the case of J.K. Rowling, she probably didn't want people to compare these new books with the Harry Potter novels. And maybe, like Elena Ferranti, she didn't want people to have any idea it was her. She just wanted people to read the books without any previous ideas.
Did many people buy the first book, if they didn't know it was written by her?
It seems that at first they only sold about 500 copies. But then somebody discovered the secret, and once it was in the newspapers, thousands of people bought it.
Personally, I can understand why authors sometimes want to remain anonymous. The important thing is the book, not the private life of the person who wrote it.
But knowing about the author's life can also help you to understand more about the book.
True. It's a fascinating area to explore. Thanks, Paula.
Unit 9. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2 and 3.
I'm going to talk about a series of books called A Series of Unfortunate Events. They're written by Lemony Snicket, but I don't think that's his real name. I've read all 13 books in the series, so you can see that I really like it. The books are young adult fiction, and they're all bestsellers. Let me tell you why I like this series so much. First of all, the plot is really complex. At first, it seems like the books are for younger children, but then you realise how clever the story is. There are lots of unusual twists. It always seems there's going to be a bad ending, but it's still gripping. What's more, the style of the books is brilliant. The narrator is part of the story, and the way he tells it is really funny, even though what is happening is quite tragic at times. I think you can learn a lot about how to tell a story by reading these books. It's also true that I like the books because of the characters, even though some of them can be a bit annoying at times. But you're always interested in finding out what's going to happen to them. That's why you want to read on. Last but not least, the books and chapters are all quite short. That makes it easy and fast to read, especially because of all the humour. To sum up, I think A Series of Unfortunate Events is the best series of books I've ever read because it's a great story, it's funny, and above all, it's well written. They've made film and TV adaptations, which are entertaining, but I think the books are much better.
Unit 10. Vocabulary in Context. Exercise 1. Computers and accessories.
Desktop. External hard drive. Flash drive. Headset. Headphones. Microphone. Keyboard. Monitor. Screen. Mouse. Printer. Scanner. Speaker. Touchpad. Touchscreen. USB cable. USB port. Webcam.
Unit 10. Vocabulary in context. Exercise 3B. 1A.
I want to download this song.
1B.
The download didn't work.
2A.
I always make regular backups of my documents.
2B.
Did you remember to back up the computer?
3A.
The setup is taking forever.
3B.
It takes time to set up a new computer.
4A.
My antivirus software has automatic updates.
4B.
I need to update my operating system.
5A.
You need to remember to log in each time.
5B.
I can remember my login, but not my password.
Unit 10. Reading. Switching off the internet.
We live in a world where every minute on the internet, approximately 187 million emails are sent, over $860,000 is spent by online shoppers, and 18 million text messages are sent. In that same 60-second period, there are 3.7 million search queries on Google. Now imagine, if you can, that the internet is suddenly switched off. Not for 1 minute, but for 24 hours. In Algeria in 2018, there was a complete internet blackout for up to 3 hours a day for 5 days. The reason? It wasn't to stop people watching the latest cat memes. It was to stop students from cheating in their school-leaving exams. The year before, many students arrived at their exams late. By the time those students went into the examination hall, they had had time to see some of the questions as they had already been posted online. So the next year, they decided to switch off the internet for the first hour of each exam. Algeria is not the only country that has switched off the internet because of online cheating. In Mauritania, for example, they had a complete internet blackout from the morning until evening on exam days. But in both cases, there was a lot of criticism for taking these drastic steps. Naturally, when the internet is switched off, a number of businesses, from travel agents to banks, cannot continue working. And people complained that there are easier alternatives to stop internet cheating. Mobile phone jammers could probably do the same job. Meanwhile, Bali had a completely different reason for switching the internet off. For the first time in 2018, they switched it off for 24 hours to celebrate Nyepi, or the Balinese New Year. This holiday is traditionally celebrated with meditation and silence. Shops and tourist attractions are closed, and so is the airport. People must stay at home, and they must not light fires or use electrical devices. Even tourists were not allowed to go out onto the streets or to the beach for 24 hours. But Wi-Fi was available to them in hotels. Indonesia is, in fact, one of the most connected nations in the world, with more than 132 million users. But as the governor of Bali said, life can go on perfectly well without the internet. So what about in the UK? Is there any situation when the internet can be unplugged? According to law, the internet can only be shut down to protect the public's safety or health, or in the interests of national security, for example, to protect against a major cyber attack. It would need to be very serious, though, because switching off the internet can have serious financial consequences. The Brookings Institution calculated that internet blackouts around the world in 2015 to 16 cost countries at least $2.4 billion.
Unit 10. Grammar in Context 1. Exercise 2C. All in 60 seconds. 1,
375,000 apps are downloaded.
2,
The Earth is hit by lightning about 6,000 times.
3,
About 21,000 slices of pizza are eaten in the US.
4,
25,000 gifts are sent via Messenger.
5,
14,896 cups of tea are drunk in London.
6,
More than 190 sharks are killed by humans.
7,
4.3 million videos are watched on YouTube.
8,
1 million plastic bottles are bought.
9,
3,472 journeys are taken on the London Tube.
Unit 10. Developing Vocabulary. Exercise 1. Collocations with email.
Account. Address. Attachment. Bounce. Check. Forward. Inbox. Junk. Reply to. Send.
Unit 10. Developing Vocabulary. Exercise 2. Collocations with document.
Attach. Copy and paste. Create. Cut. Open. Save.
Unit 10. Listening. Exercises 2 and 3.
Today we continue our series on the world's most unusual museums. In Helsingborg, Sweden, there is a museum of failure. It's being talked about a lot at the moment, and Holly has just come back from visiting it. Holly, what was it like?
Hi, James. It was brilliant. The museum was opened just a few years ago, in 2017, by 44-year-old psychologist Dr. Samuel West, and one of the surprising things is that after visiting the museum, you come out feeling really positive and inspired. You see that even the most successful people or the biggest companies fail sometimes. The important thing is to learn and bounce back from failure. There's a great example of that in the museum. The Apple Newton was invented in 1993. It was one of the first handheld devices. You wrote on the touchscreen using a type of pen, and you could get your handwriting automatically made into a document. You could connect the device to a printer easily, or use it to send emails. The real problem was that the handwriting recognition didn't always work very well. You wrote one thing by hand, but the Apple Newton sometimes wrote something quite different. So, in 1998, it was cancelled. But later, when the first smartphones and tablets were being invented, they looked at some of the technology from the Apple Newton. So it was a very important and useful step on the way to creating the handheld devices that we know today.
What else did you see there?
There was an invention from Sweden, a teleguide. It was sold for the first time in Sweden in 1991. It was a bit like a basic form of the internet before the internet existed. It had a telephone, a basic computer screen, and a keyboard, all built together. You could use it to make phone calls, find out information, for example about taxis or banking. You could even use it to do shopping.
So, what was the problem?
The price. It was too low. Every time somebody bought one, the company didn't make money, it lost money. After just 6 months, they stopped making them.
Why didn't they have the price checked by an expert first?
Exactly. Oh, there's also a video game there, the Atari ET, which some people say is the worst in the world. Basically, ET falls into holes and then he can't get out. They say it's hard to find a game that's more boring. Maybe they forgot to get the game tested by players before selling it.
Is the museum only for technology?
No, there are over 60 products there, and they include food and drink. Some very unusual food products have been created over the years. For example, green or even blue, orange or purple tomato ketchup. At first, kids loved the green ketchup and lots of it was sold. But then suddenly kids and parents became tired of it.
Personally, I'm not surprised. Well, it sounds like a great museum, and it's good to know that failure is just a step on the way to success.
Unit 10. Developing Speaking. Exercises 2 and 3.
Okay, so both of the photos show people using computers. But in the first photo, I think they're using them to play video games. Whereas in the second photo, they're using them for work. In the first photo, you can see that some of the people are using headphones or headsets. However, in the second photo, they're all wearing headsets. I'm not sure, but maybe they're talking and listening to people all the time. Maybe it's part of their job. I think it's probably hard work, because it seems they're all quite serious. But I suppose one similarity between the photos is that they're all concentrating hard, even the people playing the video games. You know, they aren't laughing or smiling. I don't know, but maybe the games are really difficult to play. Another important difference between the photos is that in the first photo, they're wearing quite informal clothes, but in the second photo, they're wearing more formal work clothes. Personally, I wouldn't like to be in either of these places, because I don't really like video games much. And I wouldn't like to work in the office in the second photo because it looks really dull. I think the problem with the people in both photos is that nobody's speaking or smiling.
Exam Success. Units 1 and 2. Exercise 3.
My presentation is about the life of the famous British author Agatha Christie. She's one of the most successful crime writers of all time. Agatha was born in 1890 and died in 1976 at the age of 85. From an early age, she always loved to read. For her high school education, Agatha studied in Paris and after she finished school, she and her mother travelled to Egypt, where she first had several ideas for future writing projects. When Agatha was 25, she fell in love with a British man called Archibald Christie. They got married in 1914, just after the beginning of World War I. He was a member of the army, and he often travelled for work. During the war, Agatha became a nurse. She helped the doctors and looked after many injured soldiers. It was Agatha's sister who encouraged her to write her first novel. So, in 1916, she wrote about the now famous Belgian detective called Hercule Poirot. However, Agatha didn't get it published until 1920, after she changed the ending of the story. Agatha's second book was published in 1922, which was also the year she and her husband went on a 10-month world tour on a ship. Then, in 1928, her first marriage ended. After that, Agatha decided to go on an adventure of her own, and in 1930, she went on a train journey on the Orient Express from France to the Middle East. While she was there, she met Max Mallowan, an archaeologist who became her second husband. They were happily married for 45 years. In July 1951, Agatha wrote a play called The Mousetrap. It's the longest-running play in history, and you can still see it in a theatre in London. By the end of her career, she had written 82 detective novels, 19 plays, 6 romance novels, and an autobiography.
Exam Success, Units 5 and 6. Exercise 2. 1.
Did you like any of the photos at the exhibition?
Well, the photo of the small island was cool, but I also liked the one of the really high cliffs by the coast. I'm not sure which I liked best.
I noticed those too, but I couldn't stop looking at the one of the big cave.
The one that has a beach in it.
That's right. There was something about the cave. I couldn't stop looking at it, though I wouldn't want to go inside it.
Oh, really?
2.
It looks like it might rain soon.
Yeah, the clouds are pretty grey. That's annoying, because I'm bored of binge-watching TV. Aren't you?
No, this series is totally gripping. But I'd like to take a break for a while. How about we go skateboarding?
Even though it isn't very nice outside.
Yeah, for a bit. I haven't had enough fresh air. After all, we've been inside all day.
Why not? Let me just finish my sandwich. We can watch the rest of this series later.
Sure.
3.
How was your weekend?
It was great.
What did you do? Did you go with your family to that new restaurant in town?
No, I went hiking with my parents. We were going to see an art exhibition in the city, but the weather was too nice to be inside a museum all day. I'm glad my parents changed their minds. What about you?
I actually spent the weekend drawing. That was fun. I just love it.
I'd love to see your drawings sometime. Here, I'll show you a photo I took of a waterfall. This is where we hiked and had our picnic.
Wow.
Exam Success, Units 5 and 6. Exercise 3. 1.
Did you watch the historical drama series Victoria?
Yeah, but I don't usually watch shows like that. They're usually too slow and serious for me. All I want to do is relax and have a laugh when I watch TV. But this one's not what I expected. It's entertaining because the actors who play the main characters, Queen Victoria and her husband, play their roles so well. But since you're interested in history, you probably won't like the show. The stories in the series aren't the same as the historical facts.
Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't like about it.
2.
I think there are some great programmes and some awful ones on TV. That's just how it's always been.
Well, there are certain programmes I like more than others. You know, like game shows, where you can actually learn something from them. Sure, some of the facts the competitors need to know aren't common knowledge, but I also discover stuff that can help me in my everyday life.
I always switch off the TV when there isn't anything good on, which is most of the time.
3.
I don't know about you, but I'll do almost anything to avoid watching TV. I'll even practice the piano for hours. That always makes my mum happy.
Well, I know I spend too much time watching TV and should do more things with my friends, but when everybody's talking about a new reality show, I want to see if it's any good too.
But they never are any good. I'd rather see my friends than waste my time watching stuff that doesn't mean anything to me.
Exam Success, Units 7 and 8. Exercise 3.
Hey Sarah, are you still taking acting lessons?
Hi, Evan. Yeah, and they've helped me to improve a lot. Hey, guess what? My cousin, who designs websites for movies, told me about a production company that needed more actors for a film that they're about to start filming. And when I contacted them, they hired me.
Well, that's great. Then why do you look so worried?
Well, for this job, I'm going to be an extra, which is a role where I won't have to remember any lines. This won't be the first time I've been an extra. So I know that I'll be doing really normal things like walking down a busy street or sitting in a park. But I haven't been told if I'm in one or loads of scenes, so I'm a bit anxious about that. I'm not sure I want to do it if it's just one scene.
What kind of film are you going to be in? Is it one of those scary films? Oh, I love those.
That would be nice. But no, it isn't. And it isn't one of those cool action movies either, where people are jumping out of planes and driving expensive cars. It's about a really famous composer who was a celebrity in the 18th century and how he became deaf towards the end of his career.
Will you be working with any famous stars?
Probably. Everyone wants to take photos with them, but I don't. They're there to do their job well, so I take any opportunity that I can to see how they act. I get acting tips just from watching them. Of course, I'd love to chat with movie stars, but I want to be as professional as possible.
I see. How was your last acting job?
I was an extra for that film too, and I earned quite a lot from it. So I can't complain that I had to arrive at work when most people were still sleeping. I guess doing the same scene over and over again is what I found most difficult. But not all directors do that.
What should I do if I want to try acting?
Well, don't expect to get the lead role in your first film. It takes a lot of hard work to even get small jobs, like being an extra in both good and bad films. So don't get upset if you're only getting those kinds of jobs at first, because maybe one day you will end up being a star. Exam Success, Units 9 and 10, Exercise 7.
For my presentation, I'm going to talk about my favourite author. Her name's Beth Recalls, and she's from Wales. She's also a blogger and a physics graduate. When I researched this author, I learned that she was only 11 when she found out that she loves writing stories, right after she was given her own laptop. Before then, she was just like most people her age. When Beth was 15, her life changed forever. That's when she started writing her first novel and began posting it online onto a story-sharing online platform. Now, more than 19 million people have read it, which is an incredible achievement. Beth came up with her idea for her story because she was tired of reading books that she didn't like very much. So, she decided to write a novel that she would want to read. It's about friendship, typical teenage problems, and the romantic relationship between two high school students. Maybe you're thinking, what's new about that? Well, the way she interacted with her readers was totally new and made a big difference. Beth was great at encouraging people to read each new chapter of her book by uploading notes for her audience to read online. She did this so that people could see what she was thinking when she wrote new parts to the story. Readers could also post their own comments about her book, and she got many fans from this. Another way that Beth was able to help promote her online book was to write regular posts about it. She put them online every few days to keep people interested in what was happening with her story. Most recently, Beth sold her story so that it could be made into a film for Netflix. It's been a huge success for Netflix and for Beth.